Life has a way of testing us. It pushes us down, knocks the wind out of us, and whispers in our ears, "Quit. Give up. It's not worth it." And in those moments, giving up feels like the easiest option. Because it's heavy. The failures, the setbacks, the disappointments. It feels like no matter how hard you try, you can't get ahead. But let me tell you something powerful. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't talent. It isn't luck. It isn't even intelligence. It's the refusal to give up. Never give up, because your future is built in those moments when you feel like quitting but push forward anyway. Let me give you a picture. Imagine a miner digging for gold. He spends months breaking rock, sweating, exhausting himself. But after months of effort, there's still no gold. Frustrated, he gives up. What he doesn't know is that just 3 feet away from where he stopped, the gold was waiting. That's what giving up does. It robs you right before the breakthrough. That's life. The struggle is always hardest right before the victory. The temptation to give up always comes strongest right before success. That's why the people who never give up are the ones who win. There's a story of a man named Jack. Jack dreamed of starting his own business. He worked nights and weekends, saving every dollar he could. But when he finally launched, everything went wrong. Sales were low. People told him it would never work. He went into debt. At one point, Jack sat in his car and cried, wondering if it was all a mistake. But in that moment, he made a decision. I will not give up. He kept grinding. He kept learning. He kept pushing. And little by little, his business grew. Years later, that same man stood on a stage, speaking to thousands, telling them how he almost quit and how close he had been to losing everything if he had. That's the power of refusing to give up. Here's the truth. The road to success is not straight. It's not smooth. It's filled with obstacles, detours, and setbacks. You will fail. You will stumble. You will doubt yourself. But those who keep going, those who rise after every fall, those are the ones who finish the race. Thomas Edison once said, "Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up." So let me ask you, how close are you right now? How close are you to your breakthrough? How close are you to the opportunity that changes everything? You don't know, and that's why you can't give up. Because maybe, just maybe, the thing you've been fighting for, working for, dreaming for, is closer than you think. And yes, it's hard. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it feels impossible. But every time you push forward instead of giving up, you're building strength. You're building resilience. You're proving to yourself that you are stronger than your struggle. Think about the greatest stories of success. Every single one of them includes failure. Every single one of them includes pain. But the common thread, the one thing that ties them all together, is this: they never gave up. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter was accepted. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking creativity. Can you imagine if they had given up? History doesn't remember the quitters. It remembers the fighters. The ones who refused to stop. The ones who stood tall when everything in them wanted to sit down. And that's why this message is for you. Because I know there are moments you've wanted to quit. I know there are days when you feel like the fight isn't worth it. But deep down, you know it is. Deep down, you know you're not done yet. Deep down, you know you can't give up now. So here's the truth you need to remember. You don't fail when you fall. You fail when you stop getting back up. Say it with me. I will never give up. Because your story isn't finished. Your future isn't written. And as long as you refuse to give up, nothing can stop you. We left off with this truth. You don't fail when you fall. You fail when you stop getting back up. Now let's dive deeper. Because here's the reality. Life will knock you down. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. And every time, you'll face a choice. Stay down or rise again. The people who rise, they're not superheroes. They don't have special powers. They're ordinary people who make an extraordinary choice to never give up. Think about the times in your life when you faced failure. Maybe you applied for the job and didn't get it. Maybe you studied hard for the test and still came up short. Maybe you gave your best in a relationship and it fell apart anyway. Those moments hurt. They crush your spirit. They make you want to stop trying. But here's the thing. Those moments don't define you. What defines you is what you do next. Let me tell you about a young woman named Emily. She dreamed of becoming a professional dancer. She trained for years, poured her heart and soul into it, and auditioned for one of the top programs in the country. She was rejected. Not once, not twice, but 6 times. Each rejection felt like a knife to the heart. Her friends told her to quit. Her family said maybe it wasn't meant to be. But Emily couldn't let go. Every morning, she got back into the studio. Every night, she practiced until her feet bled. Finally, on her 7th audition, she was accepted. Years later, she performed on stages all over the world. When asked what kept her going, she said, "I refuse to give up. I'd rather be rejected 100 times than spend my life wondering what could have been." That's the mindset. That's the fire. That's what it means to never give up. Because here's a fact. The path to greatness is paved with failure. Every champion has scars. Every winner has wounds. Every success story has a chapter where they almost quit. But they didn't. Think about Abraham Lincoln. Before becoming one of the greatest presidents in U.S. history, he lost multiple elections, failed in business, and faced crushing personal tragedy. Most people would have given up, but Lincoln refused. He kept going. And because he did, he changed the course of history. Or think about Steve Jobs. He was fired from the very company he started. Imagine that humiliation. But instead of quitting, he used it as fuel. He came back stronger, rebuilt Apple, and changed the world of technology forever. What about you? What setback have you faced? What failure makes you want to throw in the towel? Maybe it's rejection. Maybe it's financial struggle. Maybe it's just the weight of trying and feeling like nothing is working. I want you to hear this. You are not alone. Every great person you admire has been exactly where you are, standing at the crossroads of giving up or going on. And they chose to go on. And you can too. Here's the truth. Pain is part of the process. Struggle is part of the journey. Failure is part of success. You cannot separate them. If you want the reward, you must be willing to endure the road that leads to it. Winston Churchill once said, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." That's it. Courage. Not perfection. Not ease. Just courage. The courage to keep going. But let's be honest, it's not easy. Some mornings, you'll wake up exhausted. Some days, you'll question why you even bother. Some nights, you'll cry yourself to sleep. And in those moments, giving up will feel like the only option. That's when you need to remind yourself why you started. That's when you need to remember the dream that set your soul on fire. That's when you need to whisper to yourself, "I will not give up." Because every step you take, even the smallest one, is progress. Even when you stumble, you're still moving forward. Even when it feels like you're standing still, you're building strength, resilience, and character. There's a saying, fall 7 times and stand up 8. That's life. That's the fight. That's what separates the winners from the quitters. So, what do you do when everything in you screams to give up? You take one more step. Just one. Then another. And another. Until eventually, you look back and realize you've come farther than you ever imagined. The storms will come. The failures will happen. But if you never give up, the storms will pass. The failures will teach you. And the victories will be sweeter than you can imagine. Because here's the truth. Success doesn't belong to the smartest, the strongest, or the most talented. Success belongs to the one who refuses to quit. So write this into your heart. I will never give up. No matter how many times I fall, I will rise again. No matter how dark it gets, I will keep moving forward. No matter what, I will not quit. That's the attitude that changes everything. We've talked about failure, rejection, and the pain that tempts you to quit. But now let's get personal. Because never give up isn't just a catchy phrase, it's a battle cry. And battles aren't fought in the spotlight. They're fought in silence. In those lonely nights when no one sees you struggling. In those mornings when you drag yourself out of bed with no applause, no encouragement, no recognition. That's where giving up feels easiest. Because it feels like no one cares, like your effort doesn't matter, like you're invisible. But listen to me. Those silent battles are where your strength is forged. When you fight through the silence, When you refuse to quit even when no one is watching. That's when you build the character that will carry you through everything else. Let me tell you about James. James was a college athlete with dreams of going pro. During his junior year, he suffered a devastating injury that nearly ended his career. The doctors told him he might never play again. His teammates moved on, the spotlight faded, and James was left in the shadows. For months, depression hit him hard. He wanted to quit, not just sports, but life itself. But one night, sitting alone in his room, he whispered to himself, "I will not give up." That became his mantra. Every painful rehab session, every lonely morning in the gym, every day when progress felt invisible, he repeated it, "I will not give up." Years later, James not only recovered, but went on to play professionally. And when asked how he did it, he didn't talk about talent. He didn't talk about luck. He said, "I just refused to give up." That's it. That's the secret. Because here's the truth. Greatness isn't built when things are easy. It's built when everything is stacked against you and you keep going anyway. Think about it. The diamond is formed under pressure. The sword is forged in fire. The champion is made in struggle. And you are being shaped right now. Not by your victories, but by your battles. And yes, it hurts. Yes, it feels unfair. Yes, it feels like the universe is against you. But maybe, just maybe, life isn't trying to destroy you. Maybe it's trying to prepare you. Maybe every setback, every rejection, every failure is sharpening you, toughening you, strengthening you for what's ahead. There's a famous quote by Nelson Mandela, "I never lose. I either win or learn." That's the mindset of someone who never gives up. They don't see failure as the end. They see it as education. They don't see pain as punishment. They see it as preparation. So ask yourself, what is life teaching you right now? What lesson is hidden inside your struggle? Because if you can see it, if you can embrace it, then even your lowest moments will become stepping stones toward your greatest victories. Now let's get real. Sometimes, giving up doesn't look like quitting outright. Sometimes it looks like slowing down, losing focus, settling for less than you deserve. Sometimes it looks like saying, well, maybe I don't need to dream that big after all. But shrinking your dream is the same as giving up on it. Don't settle. Don't downgrade your vision just because the road is tough. Hold on to it. Fight for it. Believe in it, even when no one else does. There's a story of a young inventor named Thomas. He worked for years on a project that people laughed at. He failed hundreds of times. Investors abandoned him. Friends told him to quit. But Thomas refused. He never gave up. And that invention? The light bulb. Thomas Edison didn't just create electricity, he created hope. And his legacy is still alive today because he refused to stop. So here's the lesson. The world is changed not by the quitters, but by the fighters. The ones who keep going. The ones who take one more step, even when it feels impossible. And that's what you must do. Because the truth is, the darkest nights create the brightest stars. The toughest battles create the strongest warriors. The hardest struggles create the greatest stories. And one day, your story will inspire someone else. One day, someone will look at your life and say, because they never gave up, I won't give up either. So write this on your heart. Tattoo it on your mind. Speak it every day. No matter how many times I fall, I will rise again. No matter how heavy it gets, I will keep moving forward. No matter how long it takes, I will never give up. Say it. Believe it. Live it. Because your future depends on it. We've talked about failure, rejection, loneliness, and struggle. But let's go even deeper. Because never give up isn't just about reaching success. It's about survival. It's about refusing to let life break you. Think about the hardest season of your life. The days you felt like everything was falling apart. The nights you cried yourself to sleep. The mornings when you didn't even want to get out of bed. Those moments felt endless, didn't they? It felt like the darkness would never lift. But look at you. You made it here. You survived what once felt impossible. That means there's already proof inside you that you are stronger than you think. Never forget that. Because when you're in the middle of the storm, your mind lies to you. It says you're weak. It says you can't handle it. It says you should quit. But your past proves otherwise. You've overcome before, and you will again. Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah was a single mother working 2 jobs, barely scraping by. Every night, she came home exhausted, her body aching, her spirit drained. Her dream was to start her own business so she could give her children a better life. But the obstacles were endless: money, time, self-doubt. There were nights she sat at the kitchen table, staring at bills she couldn't pay, and thought, "I can't do this. I should just give up." But then, she'd hear her children laughing in the next room, and it lit a fire inside her. She whispered to herself, "I can't give up. Not for me, but for them." So she kept going. She worked late nights, studied business strategies, saved every extra dollar. Years later, Sarah launched her own company. Today, not only is she financially free, but she employs others and inspires single mothers everywhere. Her secret? She never gave up. That's the thing. You don't know who your perseverance will impact. Your fight isn't just about you. It's about everyone watching you. Your family, your friends, the people who believe in you, and even the strangers who will one day hear your story and be inspired to keep going. Every time you refuse to quit, you create a ripple effect. You show others what's possible. You give them permission to fight harder in their own lives. So when you're tempted to give up, remember this: someone out there needs your story. Someone out there is waiting to be inspired by your courage. Now let's talk about the enemy: fear. Fear loves to feed laziness. Fear loves to whisper, "What if you fail again? What if you embarrass yourself? What if you waste your time?" But here's the truth: fear only has power if you let it. And the antidote to fear is action. Every step you take forward makes fear smaller. Every time you refuse to quit, you starve fear of its strength. There's a quote I love: "Fear kills more dreams than failure ever will." Failure is not the end, it's the beginning. But fear? Fear convinces people to quit before they even start. That's why never giving up matters. Because when you keep going, you silence fear. You prove to yourself that you are bigger than your excuses, stronger than your fears, tougher than your struggles. Now let's imagine something. Picture yourself 5 years from now. There are 2 versions of you. Version 1 gave up. They let fear win. They let failure stop them. They settled. And they live with regret every single day. Version 2 never gave up. They kept fighting. They pushed through fear. They refused to quit. And now, they're living the life they once only dreamed of. Which version do you want to be? Because the choice is yours. Every day, every moment, you're writing that story. And the pen is in your hand. Never give up. Because the pain of discipline is nothing compared to the pain of regret. Regret lasts a lifetime. But discipline builds freedom. Look at history. Look at every legend we admire. They all faced crushing moments when giving up seemed easier. But they didn't. They pushed through. And because of that, their names live forever. Muhammad Ali once said, "Don't quit. Suffer now and live the rest of your life as a champion." That's it. Champions suffer. Champions struggle. Champions fight. But they never give up. And because of that, they rise above the rest. So here's the truth. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to keep moving forward. One step at a time. One fight at a time. One victory at a time. Because persistence beats perfection. Consistency beats talent. And refusing to give up beats everything. You've heard the stories. You've felt the weight of the words. You've seen the truth. Every victory, every success, every breakthrough was built on the back of persistence. On the refusal to quit. On the simple but life-altering decision to never give up. But now, let's turn the focus to you. Because this isn't just a story about other people. This is about your life, your struggle, your journey. What are you fighting for right now? What dream have you been carrying? What battle feels so heavy that quitting looks like the easier option? I want you to picture it clearly in your mind. That dream, that goal, that future you long for. Now imagine yourself giving up. Imagine walking away from it. Imagine settling for less than you know you're capable of. Imagine living the rest of your life wondering, what if I had just kept going? That regret would eat you alive. That pain would be heavier than any struggle you're facing today. Because failure doesn't hurt as much as regret does. Now imagine the other version of your story. The one where you keep going. Where you fight one more round. Where you push one more step. Where you stand up one more time after falling. Imagine the moment you finally break through, the moment your hard work pays off, the moment you realize, I made it because I never gave up. Which version do you want? The one filled with regret, or the one filled with victory? The choice is yours. Every day, every hour, every moment. And here's the truth. You don't have to move mountains today. You don't have to conquer the world all at once. You just have to take the next step, do the next thing, make the next move. Because success doesn't come from one giant leap. It comes from 1,000 small steps in the right direction. Let me give you one last story. There was a man named David who dreamed of running a marathon. But David was overweight, out of shape, and laughed at when he told people his goal. The first time he tried to run, he couldn't make it to the end of the block. He wanted to give up. He felt embarrassed, humiliated, and weak. But David made a decision. I won't give up. Not today. Not tomorrow. Not ever. Every day, he ran a little farther. Some days, it was painful. Some days, it felt impossible. But he kept moving. He kept showing up. He kept refusing to quit. Months later, David crossed the finish line of his first marathon. Tears streamed down his face as he realized he had done the impossible. And when people asked him how, his answer was simple: I never gave up. That's the truth of life. You don't have to be the fastest, the strongest, or the smartest. You just have to be the one who refuses to quit. Because perseverance always wins. Always. So here's what I want you to do. Starting today, make a promise to yourself. A promise that no matter how many times you fall, you will rise again. A promise that no matter how dark it gets, you will keep moving forward. A promise that no matter how long it takes, you will never give up. Say it with me. I will never give up. I will never give in. I will never quit. My future is worth the fight. Remember this. The world doesn't reward those who start fast. It rewards those who finish strong. And finishing strong requires one thing: refusing to quit. So when life gets hard, and it will, dig deeper. When the road feels long, and it will, keep walking. When failure knocks you down, and it will, stand back up. Because victory is waiting for you on the other side of perseverance. And when you get there, when you finally hold the prize you've been chasing, you'll know it was worth every tear, every bruise, every scar, every sleepless night. You'll know it was worth it because you never gave up. This is your moment, your fight, your story. Don't let laziness win. Don't let fear win. Don't let failure win. Fight for your dream. Fight for your future. Fight for yourself. And remember, you are not alone in this fight. Here at Fire Motivation, we're with you every step of the way. This channel is your daily fuel, your reminder to rise, your fire when you feel like quitting. So if this message lit something inside of you, if it reminded you of your strength, if it gave you the courage to keep going, don't let the fire die here. Keep it burning. Feed it. Grow it. Hit that subscribe button to Fire Motivation. Because this is where quitters become fighters, where struggles become victories, and where ordinary people become extraordinary. Never give up. Never give in. Keep fighting. Because your future is worth it. And one day, you'll look back and say, I made it. Because I never gave up.